Welcome to our show, The World Meets in Wood Buffalo on Shaw TV. Today we're going to talk about the topic childbirth practices in different cultures around the world. So we have for you Alice Fontaine from Genevieve.
Hello, I am from Canada. I have Swedish ancestry. I'm third generation Canadian. I live in Genevieve, but we live in Chippewa Prairie First Nation. I'm married to a Dene man there, Edgar Fontaine. We have 5 beautiful children. What I can tell you about being a mom is in the Dene culture, it's very, very family oriented. 2 of Edgar's aunties, who are Dene, one, Eva Genevieve, she delivered 44 babies as a midwife in Genevieve because the road was closed back then. They couldn't get out to Fort McMurray. And his one auntie at 13 years old, Florence Wawawa, delivered 1 baby when she was 13. But the very key thing that I would say, it's very family oriented, and all the women usually breastfed. And I've breastfed all 5 of my children. The first 2 when I was young, I struggled, but the other 3, I breastfed all of them. My husband was in the delivery room with each one. He cut the cord for each one.
Wow.
Very, very caring. I do not speak a lot of Dene, but there's 1 word, 3 words that represents our family. It's called Nanita, I love you. And all my children know that. And for mother, it's Hama. Now they don't call me Hama. We'd call my mother-in-law, my late mother-in-law, Flora LaPriest, who passed away, we would call her Hama. And what I've learned from them and my mother is the tradition of the love, the support. When someone's pregnant in the community, there's a lot of mothers and everybody is gathering there. They're checking on her.
Wow,
my first child, we went to Genevieve, and my baby was breech. And there's this lady, I think her name was Angelique. She felt my stomach and she said, "Oh, the baby's breech." She actually turned the baby. She turned the baby because I was getting time to have the baby. Wow. And like, I'm so proud to be living in Genevieve, living in Chippewa Prairie First Nation. I love the Dene people. I have 5 beautiful Dene babies. And I'm a proud grandmother.
And do you know that in Sweden, most women do breastfeed? It's way over 90%.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Well, I have a 2.5-year-old, and I'm still breastfeeding.
I just wanted to know, like, is it like very common in the Dene culture to breastfeed?
Very common.
Yeah?
And it's now the older people are trying to get the younger people back to that tradition. So anybody that is young, we are talking to them about breastfeeding and the advantages in that.
And that is a challenge because the marketing forces are so powerful, and moms get confused. Everybody gets confused. Even health professionals can get confused. In China, during the earthquake, I don't know if you guys actually know that, there was a woman with 6 months breastfeeding her baby. And there were, I think it was either 7 or 8 children that were separated, babies that were separated. She actually fed all those babies because their mothers were not in contact. That's pretty amazing. The body just adapts. But something very unique about Wood Buffalo, I think we're the only city, as far as I know, that actually has weekly support groups. We have 3 groups, yeah, and there's no other city that I know of in Canada that has weekly support groups. So we have Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. The information is available on the Baby Friendly Initiative, the Wood Buffalo initiative that we have. We're the first city in Alberta that has started with the BFI process. This is absolutely awesome. No other city, we're the first one to start. The other cities are starting to follow up as well, which is a big deal to help improve our stats. Our stats are really, really poor. Very, very few women breastfeed. You start with maybe 50 or 80%, it drops within a few days. By 12 weeks, it's maybe anything from some places 5%, 18%, 9%. It's very, very low.
It's such a beautiful story from the Aboriginal culture, and it's such a heartwarming story for mothers everywhere to know how families can be so connected, especially at this particular time, which is very sensitive for mums. So now we'll take a short break from The World Meets in Wood Buffalo. Welcome back to The World Meets in Wood Buffalo. Our show today talks about childbirth practices around the different cultures around the world. So I'm going to tell you about my experience with childbirth. I've had 2 kids in India, in Southeast Asia, so it's very different. The traditions are very different across India. North, it's different, and the south, it's different. So basically, when I was in a city in Mumbai, but even then, the culture towards the children is that the first child should be a boy. And it's prevalent in many cultures around the world, but I know that in India, it's very strong. So after the delivery, there is a certain 40 days in which the mother and the baby are not allowed to go outside the house. You have to be in your home with your family, and you're not allowed to do too much work. You cannot sort of get up from bed and do a lot of physical activity. You are supposed to get massaged by a masseur for 30 days at least. The mother and the baby gets the massages with traditional Ayurvedic oil, and you get special type of food. You cannot eat everything. You cannot drink lots of water. It's strange, actually. And I really put on so much weight because my mom was feeding me butter and God knows what heavy stuff. And there's special things that they give to you so that your milk production is very high. In India, it's very traditional to breastfeed the baby. Moms generally don't prefer formula. So unless there is some circumstance, they really don't prefer it. In the olden days, there used to be midwives, and especially in rural communities, still midwifery is very common because it's a cheaper option to have somebody in the community who can do it for you instead of going to a hospital where you have to pay so much to deliver a baby, which is a natural process. In India, we don't consider it as a surgical process. We think it's a natural process because a woman's body is made to deliver a baby. And so, why should you have, the doctor come and cut you up and do all that stuff? It's just unnatural. So, lots of women lost blood and died in the olden days because they lost a lot of blood and there was no hospital support or some medical support so that they could get help. But nowadays, it's much more advanced. I delivered both my kids in a proper medical facility. I would have preferred to, have maybe water babies and stuff like that, something more exciting. But we had a proper, normal, natural delivery. I remember the doctor said that I'm very thin and I should go in for a C-section. But I said, no way, I'm just going to go for a natural delivery. And I'm glad I did because it heals much faster and it was much easier for me.
More mobile.
Yeah.
Did your husband participate in the delivery of the baby?
In India, actually, it's not very common for the husbands to come in. Somehow they just get too scared of the blood and all that stuff. So they don't want to come in and, be with you. My husband did not come in. He said, I'm too scared of seeing you in that pain and all that situation. So I don't want to be in there. But remember, I'm here outside if you need anything. I was like, yeah, sure. But it was fun, and I remember my mom took so much of care of me. We lived with the moms for a certain period of time before the delivery and a certain period of time after the delivery. And so the first baby is the grandmom's, yeah.
And you also shaved all the hair off?
They do it in Hindu cultures, but because I'm a Christian, we don't have that practice in our community. But we have special foods, like in every province, there's different types of special foods that is for milk production and for the mother's body to get back into the normal health. There's a lot of Ayurvedic treatment. So now we'll take a short break from The World Meets in Wood Buffalo. Please come back. Welcome back to The World Meets in Wood Buffalo on Shore TV. So now we're going to talk to Cecilia Serra from Cartagena, Colombia, right?
Yes.
So Cecilia, today we are going to ask you about your childbirth practices in your country.
Today I want to share with you the experience in an indigenous group at the north of Colombia, and we share the same group, the Guayús, with the people from Venezuela. We share this indigenous group. In this special group, when the mother delivered the baby, the family of the husband need to pay for the blood, the bleeding. He need to pay that for the mother-in-law. That means grandma have money, because her baby is suffering the bleeding to deliver a baby. And for example, if a girl, the husband has to give a gift for the mother-in-law, and she takes care of her daughter and the baby. And we have the special food, and the mother has to stay in a room. The baby cannot go out.
For how many days?
40 days.
Oh, it's the same like
Yeah, it's like the diet. We name the diet. It's the time when the mother recovers the energy, and we have special food to increase the amount of milk we give for the baby. And in this community, when it's a boy, when the newborn is a boy, and they have the gift, the mother-in-law have a gift, and they organize a celebration. But it's not a celebration because it's a boy. The celebration in this community is because these friends and family for the husband, they share the money for the gift. They pay for the wife. In this community, before the marriage, the husband needs to pay, but he's not buying the girl. He's a compensation for the family for the loss they have. It's a different concept. And this celebration is is a renewal month. It's a renovation of this compromise they have, this commitment with the family. It's not a sexist celebration. It's because of.
So how much do they have to pay?
That depends of the family. Usually, if how they have to pay the same amount of money, or I don't know, yearly for the family, the same amount the father pay for the mother-in-law. It's like they increase this amount of compensation.
So, and is it with every baby? Or,
Exactly.
yeah, so if mom has 10 babies, there's a lot of paying to be done.
Exactly.
Whoa!
More bleeding, more money they have to pay.
If my daughter loses blood, I get the money.
Exactly. And the line of power becomes from the mother, not from the father.
It's
Yeah.
matriarchal.
It's matriarchal.
Do
Yeah.
they bury the placenta? What happens with the placenta, the afterbirth?
No, they bury the placenta.
It's a ceremony.
Yes, this is a ceremony, and the celebration too.
Actually, that's pretty similar in our culture too. The placenta is never put into a dustbin or any place where it can be eaten by crows
buried.
and stuff like that. So it's always buried under a coconut tree.
Oh, coconut. Is that a special
Yeah, that
means
is some
for
kind
that?
of a special related to South India. Yeah. This was so exciting to listen to the different tribal cultures related to childbirth traditions. And I'm so thankful to all our panelists today for coming in and joining on our show and giving us amazing experiences from different cultures.
Thank you
Thank you
for
very
the
much for joining us on The World Meets in Wood Buffalo.